Marauders, welcome back to the channel. The third week in October, almost at peak foliage, my wife and I took a drive from a suburb outside of Buffalo, New York, a little over 2 hours, to the Kinzua Viaduct, or the Kinzua Skywalk, which was, they call it a viaduct for some reason, but I also consider it a railroad bridge or trestle, which crosses the Kinzua Viaduct. And we just had a fantastic day. I am a huge fan of the Allegheny National Forest in northwestern Pennsylvania. I love to ride their ATV trails. I love the small towns and communities in that area. Sometimes I wonder if I should retire there. This day, not only did we visit the Kinzua Viaduct, or the Sky Bridge, we also went to two other trails and then the Kinzua Dam. This footage is taken in 4K with my GoPro 360 camera. I wanted to share with you the experience of walking that bridge that day. And I'm going to stop talking and give you a little time to listen to the wind blow over the railroad bridge or trestle. To visit and walk the Sky Bridge, it is free, which is just awesome. How many times do you go to an attraction and it's free? And not only is it free, dogs are allowed. And there were a ton of dogs, which is awesome. So not only do I recommend you can take your kids or your grandchildren, your date, you can take your dog. I didn't see any cats, sorry cat people. And there were a lot of people there with dogs. Now, when you're on this, walking the bridge, it was extremely windy. So I'm not only nervous that the wind, the bridge blowing down, because it did it one time, but then I'm also, look at this, is a dog that was afraid. The woman's dog was afraid. And she was apologizing to me because she can see I'm limping. And even the dog was nervous. So it was extremely windy. You'll see that in a video when we're at the end of the bridge, how windy it was. I was a little nervous walking on the bridge. People were making comments. Then I have my GoPro on a selfie stick that's about, 10, 12 feet above me. The selfie stick was broken. The selfie stick is bending from the wind gust blowing on it, where I was worried I was going to lose half my selfie stick and my GoPro 360 camera, but that didn't happen. Catch up to you a little later in the video. This project was led by a former Union general from the Civil War, and this was built after the war in 1882, and he was involved with the Erie Railroad, and he wanted to get materials to Buffalo, New York. Lumber and coal were the main materials, as efficiently as he could. So he came up with a plan, an idea to build this railroad trestle or bridge across the Kinzua Viaduct. And he did this because it saved, I don't know if it saved $27,000 a year, and transporting 3 million tons of coal a year from Pennsylvania to Buffalo, New York. I believe it also transported lumber from Pennsylvania to Buffalo, New York. So in 1882, they began construction with 125 workers. They finished it in 94 days, which is absolutely incredible. It was built with prefabricated iron columns from the Phoenix column ironworks. They were called the Phoenix Column. It's built on limestone piers with iron anchor bolts, I believe, which anchor bolts were a shortcoming in years to come. It has 3.5 million pounds of iron in it. At a cost, the cost to build the bridge was $275,000. Again, at the time this was finished, it was 300 feet tall, 301 feet tall, 253 feet long. It was the longest and highest railroad bridge in the world, not just our country, the world. Quite amazing. By 1900, the trains had doubled in capacity and weight. Those are tied together. And the bridge was replaced with a steel bridge, 6.7 million pounds of steel. 124 men built it in 4 months. It's just incredible. It includes a strike where they strike for 10 cents more an hour. They made 45 cents an hour. There's 37 miles of rivet rod, 895,000 rivets. And then in July, this is after the bridge wasn't used anymore for trains. July 21st, 2003, tornado comes through and blows down 11 out of the 20 towers. Now you'll see just how windy it is on the bridge. So the Allegheny National Forest left the towers down after the tornado had went through the valley. They left the towers down, pretty cool, and really put more money into the bridge and made it a tourist attraction, which is just phenomenal. I just couldn't recommend it enough that you have to visit it. It is super cool. This is at the lookout point at the end of the bridge that is remaining, and you can see they have a glass floor that you can walk on to look down on the valley floor, directly down on the valley floor, and I absolutely have no interest in doing that because I'm always worried I'm going to break through the glass and end up falling 301 feet, which we know now is a fact, the height of this bridge. Pretty neat. The views are just spectacular. I can't recommend this attraction enough. It's just super cool, and I love being with my wife, and this was just a fantastic day. So you can visit it, I believe, anytime during the year. I don't know that it closes for the winter, but obviously peak foliage. It was very busy during peak foliage in the Northeast, and what a perfect day. I actually think the the experience of the fear of being blown off the railroad bridge and ending up falling 300 feet to the valley floor. Just super cool. And man, didn't the clouds cooperate with my video? They're just spectacular. Everyone was having a good day. So many people were there. Obviously, people could tell I was limping. I had two men come up to me and ask me what was wrong. I'm going to cut this footage out of the video because I tried to do narration as I'm walking back on the bridge, and that was just impossible with the wind. The microphone didn't pick it up at all. Catch you on the bottom side of the bridge. There is a pathway and a lookout point. You can see I'm at an upper lookout point, which is below the bridge, where you can go down to the bottom of the valley and explore the bridge components that blew down in the tornado that passed through the valley. And it's about, I want to say, if I remember right, it's 1.25 miles. I could not do it. Boy, isn't this neat? Again, this re-engineering, this is steel in 2000. I'm sorry, this is steel that was done in 1900, and then in 2003 they were actually doing work on it, maintenance work to reinforce it when the tornado came through. The engineer that redesigned this bridge in the 1900s made some note that he regrets not replacing the anchor bolts, and what they did was they actually extended the anchor bolts with a threaded sleeve to tie the new steel bridge into the existing anchor bolts, and that was a weak point. When the tornado came through, the steel components of the bridge would have lasted for a long time, but the anchor bolts snapped and pulled out of the limestone foundation. Thus, the towers blew down. Really sad. He knew that was a problem. He questioned that when he was designing it, and that was the end of almost 2/3 of the bridge because of that. Now we're going to venture down and take the trail, the 1.25 mile trail that goes down to the bottom of the valley. And this is where this journey, this adventure was disappointing for me. Although I can walk, although in pain, and I am limping, steps are very difficult for me. And I got to the area of the trail where there were some tall, big steps, but they were out of stone and they were uneven. And to my disappointment, I just couldn't do it. And I really wanted to try, and I don't have it on video, but I tried in several areas and I couldn't do it. I couldn't cope. The pain was just too much, and when the pain hits my knee, my leg just gives out and I lose all strength in it. I even had some people who were trying to help me up the steps. My wife started the venture down in the valley, and then she told me she got partway down, and although I know she could have done it on her own, she didn't want to do it without me. She turned around and she came back. So this is the end of our adventure at the Kinzua Bridge, or the Sky Bridge, or the Kinzua Viaduct. I highly recommend it. It was a great adventure, especially in the fall. If you can do it. I had a great day with my beautiful wife, and this was an adventure and a fun experience. Hope you consider liking this video, sharing it with a friend, and please subscribe to my channel. Your comments are important. Please comments. And thank you for spending your valuable time watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, guys.